Yo, it's brick outside. Fall. Where? Fam, 41 degrees. 41. For those of you living in the South and don't understand the cold weather magnitude of waking up and having to cold start your vehicle so the frost can just come off of the windshield, shit's real.
It's frickin' freezing in here, Mr. Bigglesworth.
But with that being said, I'm on my designer kick vibe, and I've been testing out these fragrances for the last couple of weeks to compile a 10 designer fragrances for you to wear in this brick weather. Obviously, we can see the forecast and see what type of energy we're on, because today is 41, tomorrow 34, the day after 36, and a beautiful weekend vibe of 42. Miami, here I come. So I've compiled a list of 10 designer fragrances that I've enjoyed wearing in this brick ass weather. I wanted to make this list super versatile, very sexy, joints that I would truly wear and recommend you guys to try out for yourselves. I try to make it versatile enough so you can get a little F-boy energy, so you can have that cozy vibe, so you can have that warm, so you can have that bright, peppery, leathery vibe. All the energies to give you sexy designer feel. So let's roll my fucking music so I can put you onto 10 sexy designer fragrances for you to wear while your nipples are ice hard.
Welcome to the YouTube channel that will make you laugh more than a gaggle of unicorns mating in the Serengeti. His wealth of knowledge will make the most astute astrophysicist question his life decisions. Led by his spiritual advisors, Chuck Norris and Walter Mercado, I present to you Mr. Kind of a Big Deal.
Kind of a big deal.
Blessed morning, my beautiful peoples. You know who it is. It's your boy, C to the U to the B to the A. These fragrances are in no particular order, but I think I've cultivated a solid list. And I'm gonna start off with the sleeper, the beast mode, the one that had hype about 8 years ago that everybody wanted to get their hands on because they knew that this was a cold weather staple. This fragrance never comes out unless it's sub 50 degrees, and that is Ferragamo F Black. El Faragasquis is crazy. We're talking 10 plus hours of performance, easy breezy. Still a fragrance that you can shop in the interwebs and get it under a $40 price point, and it's absolutely incredible. Uber masculine, very rich, deep, and gorgeously spicy. I mean, the spice pepper accents that are in this fragrance will get caught in that beautiful ice crystally freezing wind and just smack you in the face full of pepper.
I'm a hot pepper, hot pepper, pepper. I'm a hot pepper, hot pepper.
It's like a steak à pois, fam. Let me give this chick a little spritz here so I can just get some of that energy again. The lavender, that barbershop foam, that beautiful peppery action, and that sweet and sultry tonka will make any woman putty in your hands, probably. So Ferragamo F Black is an absolute banger for the cold weather in the designer space. Next one. This house is legendary in the clothing and fragrance space. This is specifically the designers for the husky individuals like myself, and we're talking about Ralph Lauren, and this one is Supreme Leather. Rich honeysuckle leather is the name of the game in this fragrance. Stop knocking on the door, I'm not here.
Noir.
Respraying this puppy right now. Leather, honey, cardamom, sexy. It feels like you're buying a leather jacket in the backseat of somebody's truck in the middle of Harlem. You've never done that before? I wouldn't call this a beast mode fragrance. It has a nice amount of freshness. It's got that sweet honey factor. It's got a beautiful buttery soft leather component to it. Super mass appealing, extremely easy to wear, and somehow, although it's not beast mode, it really latches onto the skin beautifully. This is one of these fragrances that you're gonna have 15 layers of clothing on, so you can spritz it on top. It's not gonna be super overbearing, but it is gonna be super beautiful. So Supreme Leather by Polo, I've been having a blast wearing this joint. Next one. Now this particular fragrance somehow doesn't perform great off of my skin, but I'm in the minority. Everybody else absolutely not only loves this scent profile, which I absolutely do, but it performs incredible on them, so why deprive you of the experience of checking out Mercedes-Benz Club Black? It is fantastic. Absolutely amazing. Does not smell like Altair from PDM at all. Some people have been saying that in the comments. I dropped a previous video letting y'all guys know that it does not smell like that fragrance, but this is warm, sexy date night vibes with an astronomical amount of sex appeal.
Baby, wipe your drool.
Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Give me that energy. Yeah! Knock your ass off your feet. Ambery, sweet, sexy. Also feels like it has a little bit of a honey essence in the air. It might be cross-contaminating with the Polo Supreme Leather, but this is I mean, this is gonna be a heavy hitter. This is gonna be one that's gonna be uber popular for people and still at a phenomenal price point. This is kind of the ones that you're like, get it while it's hot, because this is starting to become a sleeper. And honestly, if you're not on this hype train yet, you better start following suit, because this one is going to be one of the ones that is gonna start going up in price right before your eyes. Fantastic second fragrance drop by Mercedes. There's starting to be a problem in the car space. Next one. It took me a while. Tom Ford Noir Extreme. It took me a while. I wasn't listening to y'all. I wasn't paying attention. The audience had to tell me on multiple list cubes, you need this joint in your stash. And guess what? You right. Su santísimo que rico está esta mierda, brother. Bah! Translation? This shit's good.
This is good shit.
Sweet ambery saffron, uber sexy. More like a sundown scenario where shit's gonna get real. You're gonna get sexy vibes. This is after work or wearing it to work and trying to impress a little something something.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
The more wear that this fragrance has gotten from me, which hasn't been a ton of wear, this week it felt like it just hit. It clicked in my head like the sweet cardamom in this fragrance. There's a level of elegance, refinement, and like proper execution by the House of Tom Ford in their more affordable designer lineup that really knocked this one out of the park. Now that I dropped this one, everybody's like, yo, get the full gold one. That joint is way better. It's on the way as well. But we're speaking about fragrances I currently have in my collection and ones that I'm really enjoying wearing that I would absolutely recommend that you guys wear in the cold weather. This has to be on the list. It's beautiful, ultra sexy, very modern, ridiculously elegant, perfect for a date night situation. You can absolutely wear it as your signature scent during the cold weather months. And even if you don't live in a cold weather scenario, this is one that should not be slept on like I did. I'm the victim of sleeping on this fragrance, and it took my audience, my true ball sprayers, to say, Coops, just give it a whirl. And seeing it on so many lists, I had to take the plunge, and I'm so happy I did. So listen, sometimes listen to your peers because they know what they're talking about. I did, and it suited me well. Next one. And speaking of Tommy Ford doing things well, Ombre Leather Parfum. How are you not gonna wear this in the cold weather? Riddle me this, fam. Perfection of leather? Whether you get the Parfum concentration or even the OG, it don't really matter. This one is personally my favorite, but they're both one of the most incredible designer leathers in the space, period. Or as the girls say, period.
Dear God, give every single man on this planet a period.
You would think smelling this fragrance that they took a leather jacket or they just took raw materials of leather, chopped it up in bits, somehow threw it in a blender, hit frappe, and made some sort of concoction that photorealistically synthesized the leather scent profile to trick your brain into feel like, yo, I'm not only wearing leather, I'm wearing leather. I need to hit it, I need to hit it, I need to hit it a little bit, just sweet, powdery leather, ultra sexy, beautifully seductive. And with that kiss of pipe tobacco, I mean, I feel like Hugh Hefner has reincarnated and just possessed himself in my body. Pause, not like in a really, way. And I definitely don't need Viagra anytime soon. Couple years.
Hey, your time will come, wise guy.
But dare I say, this is one of Tom Ford's masterpieces in their lineup. And I can say that confidently as this is the shit for cold weather, period. Next one. For my young cats out there, sometimes we need a little F-boy energy, and this fragrance absolutely has that type of vibe, which means that you're gonna get some butt with Gucci Guilty Parfum pour Homme. Why such a long title? Smelling this joint, you can't help but crack a smile. Another fragrance that I slept on, I was like, I'm not trying to get that shit and smell like a child. Look at me.
You want me to dress like a man?
Look at me, I already look like a man-child. Like I want to smell like one too, that's insane. But it's that freaking good. It brings me back to a nostalgic time when I thought I was like sexy and shit as a little fat bastard back in the day.
When I was your age, we had these things called songs.
Trying to woo shorties on some like old R&B shit, thinking I'm Boys to Men. It's like, the very first time that I saw your brown eyes. Who is you, fatty? You got bigger tits than her.
Bob had bitch tits.
There's no way you're gonna escape compliments wearing this fragrance. This is a compliment getting fragrance, and it's not super immature either. This would be the most mature version of the Gucci Guilty lineup, in my opinion, that I would personally enjoy. It's fantastical. This is the young buck who drives that Honda Civic that's souped up in the nice way, and this is like in the glove box, like, oh shit, the limo tint is up, so I gotta do it up, airbag this shit up or something, so I don't start scraping the floor and looking like a tard when Shorty's thick, genetically modified, made in DR booty gets in this car.
My Honda Civic, my only possession.
And we go spark some hookah together. That's what this fragrance screams like. Definitely cold weather sexy vibes though. Next one. Now if you're just on that more mature kick, you can go for a little oud action, but that stronger with you oud is definitely a more wearable, less animalic oud that isn't gonna get you kicked out of somewhere for smelling like barnyard shit.
I smell the barn on this.
There is no slack in performance when it comes to this fragrance. And I know it's an oud fragrance, but it's really more of a vanillic, creamy, cinnamon type scent profile over oud. There is that oud element, which is more of a woody, nice, sexy base with a little lavender essence, adding that bit of soapy freshness to it. But all in all, it's a fantastic fragrance. This is built for cold weather. This is built for big jackets. This is for that thicker, big bear coat, so the fragrance can just sit on top of the fabric and have you smelling fantastical when you're coming up in the space. Completely different from anything else on the table, as that it's more oud focused. I feel like the oud in these designer fragrances acts more like an adhesive of some sort. Scientifically or chemically, that's not the point, but that's how I feel. Do I look like a reviewer that says anything accurate? I'm just giving you my opinion, stupid.
In my opinion, that sucked.
Is it sexy? Definitely. Does it perform? Incredibly. Well over 11 hours off of my skin, especially in the cold weather when most of our fragrances definitely help the enhancement of that performance. So Armani Emporio Stronger With You Oud is definitely a contender for sexy fragrances in the cold weather. Next one. Now this next fragrance, I wouldn't necessarily categorize it as a winter scent, but the Palo Santo in this fragrance and the fact that it was love at first sniff really made it a beautiful, easy to reach situation for me in the winter, and that's Givenchy Gentleman's Society. I'm glad a lot of people agree with me because this is going to be my scent of the day. Yeah, spread my balls. What channel you think this is?
Once you see that shit, it'll fuck you up for life. Good luck. Have fun.
Bro, the sage and the Palo Santo. The Palo Santo is the superstar in this fragrance. Oh my God, woody, fresh, sexy, deep, almost spiritual, like fire woods, erotic, pornographic. I got a chubby right now. I don't know if people not putting this fragrance on their list. I haven't been watching many content creators, but if you haven't, you should. This is amazing. I love this joint. Givenchy really has not been letting me down lately with their newer releases. Like everything has just been hitting perfectly. Nothing, for me at least, smells redundant, and this one is no exception to that rule. Granted, Reserve Privé could have been on this list, but it's not, right? I wanted to stray away from things that you would absolutely expect to be on this list and really try to wear these fragrances in the cold weather to see what kind of action I'm getting off of it. This surprisingly performed extremely well, a little bit over 8.5 hours off my skin, but the Palo Santo is really the superstar, and as a fan of Palo Santo, I'm burning that shit in my house. There's something very mysteriously sexy about that scent, about that wood essence, about that depth, about that richness that really will turn heads. That will separate you from the Dior Sauvages and the Aventuses of the world. And these are common denominators of fragrances that are fantastic, right? But people are exhausted of it in metropolitan areas. The redundancy of these fragrances based on their popularity is lit in these streets. But why you want to be basic, fam? Try a little bit risky, get a little crazy. Try a little Palo Santo in your life. You got a lot of demons on you, bro. You need a cleansing. Next one. Fragrances don't gotta be beast mode to be worn. It doesn't need to be a hype fragrance to get all the love. Sometimes these little sleepers fall under the radar because maybe they might not perform as well as you may want them to, but when something just plays off beautifully off their skin and has that nice balance of youthful energy mixed with elegant sophistication, then that falls in the space of a Bottega Veneta por Homo. Home, sorry.
Hey, no judgment, all God's children, it's fine. I was gay once.
It's juniper berry, pimento, and this little thick green oily kind of consistency that gives it this old school gentlemanly refinement. But we're not gonna take away the beautiful bright bergamot, and then you got that leathery base really giving you that very wearable ultra signature scent type scent profile. Let's respray this pull down. Green with class. It kind of smells like a department store. It feels like I'm walking into Neiman Marcus, like right opening past the security guard who's looking at you 3 times because you look like this. And you're in the men's section, but right within eye's distance is the fragrance department with all these mixes of fragrances that are floating in the air. This feels like I'm walking into that. It's a mix of mall Neiman Marcus department store smell with the fragrance counter at Neiman. Green, rich, classy, elegant, midlife crisis, no hype, underperforms, but it's a beautiful scent. So so why not give this shit a shot? Because it's been wearing beautifully off the skin, but it does better on the clothing. And finally, that dry, sexy minerality of Valentino, born in Roma. I don't have the Intense yet, it is on the way, but let's talk about how well this one surprised me. Sweet, spicy, bright, salty, mineralic, smells slightly like wet concrete, dry woods, and this nice little red candy smell. It's not often that I walked into a department store and smelled the fragrance and really wanted to get it, especially like a Sephora or a Macy's, one of these big box brand stores. But that's where I got the idea to purchase this particular fragrance. I walked into a Sephora, I had seen a bunch of shit that I either already owned, smelled, or really had no purpose or need or want to get, but ran into this one and always strayed away from it simply because of the pink lettering. Some Sephoras tend to have like nice disorganization or this weird meshing between the men's and the women's fragrances, so I was like, oh, maybe this was positioned differently. Something about the marketing just screamed femme to me, so I really disregarded it being an a-hole. I finally picked it up and I sprayed it in the test strip and I was like, this is very pretty. So I actually sprayed it on my wrist and just continued my day on the shopping spree. So after spending $28 million at the mall, I kept finding myself kind of resmelling, and with a frozen shoulder of picking up these bags and smelling my wrist and having massive weight on it, I was like, this is something that I need in my stash. If it has that addictive type of quality for me, wanting to get that reactive nature from somebody else, why wouldn't I have this in my collection? That's kind of crazy, no? And shortly after getting this fragrance, that's when I started seeing other content creators and other people like, yeah, absolutely it's good. Where you been? Oh my God, Cuba, so late to the party. Yeah, no shit, but it's gotta be hitting for me. I don't care if 500 other content creators talk about the fragrance. Well, I do, because it'll get me views. But for me personally, it's gotta smell good on me. I'm not gonna tell you, yo, this shit smells so dope, blah, 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 and it smells like cat piss on me. We're not doing that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But now my DMs is like, you like this one, you need the Intense. Yo, get the Intense. So I got the Intense. It's coming. But this one is not to be slept on because it's really that fucking good. And these are 10 gloriously sexy fragrances in the designer space that you can definitely pull off in the winter. I love y'all mother suckers from the heart. Give me your list. Put your 10. Fuck that. Put your 5 designer bangers for cold weather, or for those who don't live in cold weather but get brisky nights. Put your 5 designer gem pieces in the comments below, and maybe I'll get them if I don't own them, or feature them on another video. I'll see y'all snitches next time. You know who it is. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
He don't play. Hey, for all the chicks that got dead in the penthouse suite on top of my mom's crib. It's nonsense you never get in. It's nonsense that you would think that you would